Hello Ottawa, and welcome to the 25th Hour. I'm Keith Hickey.
And I'm Katie Harteye. And today's show brings us to a new location, Unitarian House.
As a non-profit charitable organization, this residence combines independent and retirement living for seniors. It's known for its friendly atmosphere.
It's a small community in Westboro, and we're here today because at the heart of this episode is the idea of growing older.
Throughout this show, we will discover what life is like after 65.
Have you ever thought about it?
Well, I mean, haven't we all? I've already started planning out my retirement. I'm looking forward to settling down at a cottage with a beer in one hand and a dog on my lap. I think that would be pure bliss.
Wow, sounds like you have it all figured out. I don't know what I'd do. The possibilities seem endless. For this group of Ottawa women, they decided to use retirement to build a tight-knit community around the idea of song and dance.
Come on, let's go on inside.
My name is Vivian McLean, and I'm a member of the Nepean Sportsplex Tap group out of the Nepean Senior Centre, and I'm also a member of the Stage Class, which is a singing group. I'd always wanted to tap dance, and at the ripe old age of 60, I decided that if I didn't do it then, I'd never ever do it. And I do have some background in singing. Tap was totally different. I've never done any dance in my life. So the moment I put my tap down onto the floor, it just went up to through my whole body into my brain, and it released all kinds of wonderful endorphins. It's a whole body-brain connection to the feet. It's the sound and the rhythm that you can create with your body. Your body's a percussion instrument. Your tap shoes are percussion instruments, and you do the rhythm of the song. And I love that. Being a senior means you're between 55 and forever, and many women in the group were well into their 60s and 70s when I joined. And as I got to know them better and interacted with them, and I realized how busy they were in their lives, how scheduled they were, what gifts they had to offer people like me who could see, wow, when I'm 85, I can still be tap dancing. When I'm 82, I can still be singing and performing in front of audiences.
I love performing, I do. I think I'm a bit of a ham. I love music. You know, if you hear music, you want to move, right? When you're singing and dancing, something happens to you inside. Dream a little dream of me. There's nothing aggressive or mean, or, you know, I think it's so wonderful. Still craving your kiss. When my husband died, I couldn't sing. Nothing could come out. Nothing. I would try and try and try, because I sang all my life at home, working, you know, and stuff like that. And then little by little, my voice came back. And it took, I don't dare tell you, probably 3 years before I could actually get my voice to sing. So, you know, I mean, you understand then that it's right from inside you.
It's important to be with people and to interact with people. Yvonne was a special person because she and I just clicked as friends. And we travel together now, and it's just blossomed. She wants to sing and dance forever, and I do too.
You say they want to be me when they grow up. Well, you know what? It's really quite nice. It really is quite a compliment, really. I've always had very good friends because I don't have family. You know, I don't have mother, father, uncles, aunts, cousins, brothers, sisters, nobody. And so my friends are very important. And these are very good friends.
I don't know if you noticed when we were singing, we had a sound, and that took a while to develop, but it just formed. Being part of the community helps us to gel.
We don't meet in January and February, and we don't meet in the summer, in July and August. And many of them get together, and they get a room over in the senior center at the Sportsplex, and they practice, and so they meet once a week, even though I'm not there, just to keep their routines alive. And they like to get together as much as they like to perform their routines, I think. For older people, they need to keep active. They need to keep their minds active. That goes back to my teaching in the routine format. And you've noticed that my stage class memorizes their songs. We don't sing with choir books. I mean, it's a challenge to your mind, and we need to challenge our minds.
If a person does not keep themselves vital after retirement, might as well just lay down and die, because you have to keep living.
I can see myself in their tap shoes someday. They all seem to really enjoy it.
And let's face it, they have better moves than I ever will. But it was nice to see how they sort of just connected as a group.
And staying connected is so important as we age. The room we're in right now is one of the main social hubs at Unitarian House.
That's why the Unitarian House is built on sort of a sense of community. But finding that community isn't always easy. For senior migrants to Canada, language and cultural barriers can often lead to isolation. That's why Club Casa de los Abuelos, the grandparents' house, is making a home for Spanish-speaking seniors.
They give me a sensation of freedom, companion. It's like coming to my house, and everybody is so loving, so, get together and socialize. If I didn't do that in the grandparents' house, I would be alone in my apartment. When I came the age of retirement, and I said, what I'm going to do now? And somebody told me about the grandparent house. She told me, well, Irene, you are alone. I don't want to see you alone. And you're telling me you don't know if you stay here or go back to Chile when you retire. Why you don't go to the grandparent house? It's really nice. People get together and have coffee and talk, and they relate,
Very good coffee, good Colombian coffee.
Yeah, for me it's so important that I'm here Wednesday for them. Yeah, it's very important for me because it makes me feel like helping them, and at the same time they are helping me to feel realized.
You kind of forget about everything, you know, the daily worries, and so it's a relaxed time. It's very nice.
And I like very much to come here because we have many activities to develop and we are happy here.
And I said, well, why I don't offer the course of painting? So what was the first course that was done? Because I paint since the age of 7 years old, as a hobby. I went to buy everything, and there I started the first course, 5 people. I said, well, I can do an art therapy for the elderly, and that's what I'm doing with them, because they talk about the problems, and then they start to dissipate all those problems, because they get together, they talk about this and that, and not only painting, and it comes in a very beautiful atmosphere for them. They really need that.
Social isolation is one problem that it goes from the north to south, from the east to west, from the urban centers to the rural areas. No one is exempt. But perhaps the ones that are most affected are immigrant seniors. It's important, at least for me as a leader, is to provide the space where seniors come and enjoy the moment. It's nice to be with others. We chit chat, we laugh, we cry, and that is what is important.
Immigrant seniors face isolation, both social isolation and physical isolation, which means that mental health can be a big challenge for them. They could get depressed, they can't communicate very easily, or they can't access the services. So a lot of the public programs are one size fits all, and they're not thought of for different groups of seniors. One of the main challenges that immigrant seniors are facing is language and adapting to the culture as well as the climate. So that's a lot of challenges for a newcomer.
That's what it is. They are all immigrant, you know. So that's why they relate good, because of they are all in the same boat. It was very, very important for me, and to find these beautiful people, you know. It's just I started to feel at home and not that lonely.
Social isolation is a national problem, and it's not only about immigrant seniors, but it's something that everybody has to address, and you have to think about your parents and your grandparents. It's not only about the grandparents at Club Casa de los Abuelos, but it's about your grandparents too. Maybe you think that they are so happy, and maybe they put a nice smile for you, but you don't know how they are living their lives. So make time for them as well.
We need the contact, people contact, you know, people relating each other, you know, doing things together. Yeah, you know, like how I transfer my love and the painting for them. That's what I mean, you know. So it's very, very meaningful.
A mis pupilos, llenas están mis manos de cosas bellas que emanan como ríos de colores. Ofrendas de amor son todas ellas, marinas, rosas, paisajes y flores, noches serenas llenas de estrellas, jardines floridos con dulces olores. Quieren mis manos entregarles estas ofrendas a mis pupilos, que son mis amores.
What a touching story. It's incredible how well art therapy can work. And therapy comes in many different forms. It's not just limited to the arts. Keith, did you used to play with dolls?
Well, that depends. Do you mean like collectible action figurines?
You played with G.I. Joes, didn't you?
Well, of course, I played with G.I. Joes, Transformers, dinosaurs, the list could go on.
I had quite the collection of dolls back in my day. I don't think you can put a limit on how old you have to be to play with them. For kids, they're a window to make believe. And for seniors with dementia, dolls can be a way to reminisce about the past and help as a kind of therapy.
This is a place where connections are made.
Never did I ever dream I'd be playing with dolls today, and I've enjoyed myself so much.
Welcome to Doll Therapy, where seniors with dementia are given dolls to play with and care for. The therapy is based on the principles of attachment theory and has been used in the treatment of dementia for more than 2 decades. Piret Oud and Renee Gauthier are members of the Ottawa Doll Guild. They run these sessions at local Ottawa area retirement homes.
We started to do doll therapy to play with them because we enjoy it so much. We thought we could share this love of dolls with the residents that would need it, the comforting. It comes from the love of the dolls. I have over 500 dolls, and I find that I'm very, very fortunate. And what are you going to do with all these dolls? Why not share them?
Sometimes it just has to be the right doll. It has to be the right expression. A boy or a girl or their favorite color or something that we don't know. So it has to, they have to connect. There's a connection that we have no way of knowing ahead of time.
Got a pretty face.
They will look at the doll face to face, and that's when you see the expression on their faces, especially if we have the right doll with the right person. It looks like a granddaughter, a grandson, or children of their own.
I don't know whether it helps them or not, but it brings them a moment of comfort, a moment where they can reminisce over when either they were a little girl and they had dolls, or when their own daughters had dolls, or it can also represent their own baby when they had a baby.
Yeah, that's why I love her. Because she looks like my daughter. And my daughter was always smiling like this, too. And look at that. How could you help but not love this? I'm calling her Phyllis, after my daughter. I almost think it's real. Yeah. I just want to hug it.
Although embraced by many, doll therapy has been criticized. Some say it treats seniors like children and is patronizing.
We just go to make them appreciate the dolls. We're not saying that they're like children where they need dolls. It's what it reminds them of. Some of the children of the residents don't want them to have dolls. They're very much against it because they also feel that we're trying to feel them like they're childish, make them feel childish.
And sometimes we'll have a son or a daughter that participate and to just see the faces and their happiness, and the way they relate to the dolls.
Susanna, don't you cry for me, or come from the piano. A banjo on my knee.
In a beautiful Christmas gown. Isn't she pretty? The sweater is hand knitted. The doctor doll.
My God, we're back in our day, on our baby days.
I mean, you don't see stuff like that.
It's hard when we see someone who we've known before and how deep they are in their Alzheimer's. and to know that they're not responsive at all. They don't recognize us, they don't recognize the doll, they don't recognize anything at all. But we go there just for the moment. We go there to have, give them enjoyment with the dolls, and whether they can appreciate it or not, it doesn't really matter.
Dolls help people who are ill, because when the visitors go, there's no one there for them, but the doll will always stay with them.
And they don't crawl all over the place, and they don't climb the stairs.
This was the first doll therapy session hosted at Unitarian House. The retirement residence operates with a philosophy of community and inclusion. Not all who participated suffer from dementia.
Wow, those seniors really look like they were enjoying themselves. And it's great that they can have those kind of experiences here. We're joined now by co-hosts Duncan Chalmers and Bianca Patinero. What are your impressions of life at Unitarian House so far?
Well, Keith, I have to say the atmosphere here is really lively. For example, this room behind me is about to fill up with seniors who are going to grab a cup of coffee and just talk about their day.
Yeah, Bianca, I'm really surprised by how social everything is here. Christina O'Neill has worked at the Unitarian House for 24 years. Now she serves as the executive director. One of our reporters, Amelia Thatcher, had an opportunity to sit down with her to talk about what makes this community so unique.
My name is Christina O'Neill. I'm the Executive Director here at Unitarian House of Ottawa, and I've been in this position now for 7 years.
So can you tell me a little bit about what Unitarian House is and what you guys do here?
Unitarian House is a nonprofit charitable organization. In 1984, the doors opened. It was an effort put on by the congregation, the community, the volunteers, the people from this area to build this because they believed in it. They believed that this was a vision for senior housing and for senior living. And what happened was they built 68 apartments, so we're a housing project, and we're also a retirement home.
So is that part of what makes Unitarian House so unique?
Yes, yeah, it does. We've always been considered a role model for senior housing because of what we do. It's like a neighborhood, it's like a community, it's like a home. And so what we're experiencing now here at Unitarian House is aging in place. The average age in the apartments is about 80, but the average age on the retirement floor is 91. I have 4 seniors right now that are over 100, 2 of them 105. But what happens is a relationship between the two communities. There's this collaboration. So the residents living in housing have become our volunteers. They run a lot of the programs that go on here at Unitarian House. They're running social events, happy hour, the tuck shop, games night, movie night. And so this relationship, this integration of the community between the residents that need and the residents that don't have become an amazing concept when you think about it.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the sort of activities and services that you guys offer for seniors?
Well, nowhere else do they provide what we provide. There's no other facility that does what we do. Because of the retirement home, we provide all the services 24/7. So we have a nursing department, housekeeping, dietary, an activity department, and of course the admin. And it's because of the services and the 47 staff that work for the retirement home that the residents who live in housing, the 68 apartments, they benefit from all the programs that go on here.
What else makes Unitarian House so different? How do residents feel when they're here?
One of the things that we hear from the residents and even from visitors is that when they walk in, they feel this sense of home. We're not a 5-star hotel. We are not one of these big marble entrances that's cold and empty. When you walk in here, you're going to feel energy, you're going to see people talking, you're going to hear laughing, you're going to hear noise. But that's living. That's what we want them to do. We want them to enjoy this community. So our whole focus is how do we make sure that the residents remain empowered and independent. So we slip in services as they're needed. We never take anything away from someone if they can do it. So if a resident wants to make their bed, they're making their bed. If a resident can't make the bed, then we go in and help. But it's that change, that aging in place, that ability of Unitarian House to provide the services so that they can continue to call this their home. That's what makes us special.
What are some of the issues that Unitarian House is facing at this point in time? I know the LRT line is coming through, construction is going to be starting in 2019.
You know, we're really concerned about our residents, and we feel that the 18 months of construction will have a huge health impact on our residents. We're talking dust, diesel fuel, noise, vibration, construction starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, going till 10 o'clock at night, 7 days a week pretty well. We're concerned about the impact on what's going to happen to our residents' health.
So it's not just the idea of construction happening on your doorstep, it's for the future as well, when the train is actually finished.
You know, and our mayor keeps saying that short-term pain for long-term gain, and we're saying, but this is not short-term pain. If you're 102 or 105, 18 months of your life is long-term pain. It could be your life. It could be the end of your life, having to experience that. So if it was your grandparent or your great-grandparent that was living here during that 18 months of construction, you'd be worried about them too.
Bianca and I are standing right on top of where the LRT line is going to be built. These two marks here indicate where the line is going to go through. Notice how close it is to the residence building.
It's causing many concerns. Our commentator, Rachel Gilmore, will tell us more about why she thinks the development is not respecting the health of seniors.
I'm sitting outside the Unitarian House, a place where people come to live the final months and years of their lives. It's also a place where the LRT is slated to expand into. It's going to go right through their parking lot. This is unacceptable, and it's going to cause all kinds of repercussions for the people who live here. They aren't inherently against the LRT and its existence, but they are against it going right through their backyard, right through their property, and impeding on their ability to live. This is going to have a huge set of repercussions for them. The first one would be the traffic congestion. This is a really big deal. Although it might not seem like it right away, having increased traffic congestion in this area could result in people dying. When you have way more people around, it takes longer for emergency vehicles to respond. And we have a ton of people in this building who are very, very vulnerable and who need a lot of emergency care. So if they're not getting that, they could pass away. If it's 1 minute later, they could pass away. The LRT is going to cause those sorts of delays in time, and that's unacceptable. A second issue is the parking lot. It's going right through, which means they're going to lose a lot of parking spaces. As a result of that, people who already might be hesitant to come and visit their family members, the lonely people who live here who don't get a lot of visits anyways, it's going to be a huge problem because family members will have an excuse not to come. That's a huge issue as well. It's going to be constantly shaking. There's going to be blasting going on. It's going to shake their house and it's going to be loud. This can result in all kinds of health issues. It's going to give them sleep deprivation, anxiety, depression, high blood pressure. These are all things that the executive director of the Unitarian House said are going to result from the construction and the ongoing noise. These people, as one resident said, are going to be prisoners in their own home. Finally, they're going to lose an area of the land that was slated for development. That's a huge issue because they were going to build a home for people with mental illnesses. As a result of this LRT line being built, society isn't going to get that building that is going to help a huge number of people. This is a huge issue. We need to have more respect for people who are vulnerable and marginalized, and we can't just cut through their lives for our convenience. We need to have more respect for the people who have raised us, who have contributed to the society for decades of their lives. We can do so much better, and we need to.
So Duncan, did you ever play any sports when you were little?
Actually, Bianca, when I was in elementary school, I started playing basketball. It's now my favorite sport. I really like the way they dribble up and down the court.
I was really into figure skating and volleyball, but then with school and a part-time job, I just didn't have time for it anymore.
Yeah, I think we all know that feeling. Sometimes life just becomes too much and we don't have time for the things we love.
Well, to rediscover some old memories, a group of seniors in Ottawa are rallying together to form a seniors badminton league. They're showing us that age doesn't necessarily have to change the game.
Ready. All right. Ready to kill. I'm a singles player trying to play mixed doubles, but because I do that, I can get around the court quite a bit and quite fast and cover a lot of court. So it helps. In 12 months, that was last year, I tore my rotator cuff, bicep muscle, and hamstring all in a 12-month period. It's just all on the same side, one after another. Did we quit? No. $7-4. There's too many couch potatoes out there now, and actually the population is getting more active. And part of the program that we belong with, the Ontario Senior Games Association, that's part of our motto is to stay active, live a healthy lifestyle, and come on out and do it. You can. And so we run sports. Shorty is the chairman, and I'm the district coordinator for the program, and we look after 29 sports. So we're pretty active, just doing that. Okay. Alistair? Some of us have been playing this game for a long, long time. I started in 1976. So it's a long time ago. And Shirley, I don't know when she started, but I know she's been playing a long time. And that's part of keeping healthy, right? As a team, we've been playing together since 2007. We played national championships, local, regional, provincial, that sort of thing, and right here at the RA. 21.
I started playing in high school in the 50s, and I've been playing ever since. That's where I met my husband at Badminton Club. And he passed away 4 years ago. But he wasn't a tournament player. We played league, and he came and watched me play tournaments.
17.
We learned the finesse game, and now it's power, as you can tell. How Roger was at the net half the time smashing at me. You know, this is why I wear glasses. He hit me in the eye once.
We have a doctor that plays with us, and he's been studying this type of thing with people like us that actually injure yourself. And don't quit. Don't go home for 6 months and stay and play. It's a different type of people.
It's extremely important. We're looking at, especially a sport like badminton, there is cardiovascular work here, and for people to keep up, they need to do their resistance work. So you see people around here, they're running around, they're having fun. It's not just boring, it's fun, and they're engaged. We have a community. It's a whole group of people that like to be with one another and engage in cardiovascular work together. It's quite amazing to see some people here who keep their activity level well into their 80s, and I'm sure you've seen, who's not here today, even somebody into their 90s. So this is a great way to do it. This is just, it's fun, it's active, it's social. This is the way to do it.
Why do you guys work so well together?
We're not married.
That's what
Simple
it is.
Simple answer, we're not married. There are people here that, like the lady in the yellow, her and her husband, there's like, they get on court, they're really both excellent players, but there's that issue.
It's true.
Tap dancing and badminton? These seniors are more active than I am. Keith, if we ever play, I want Roger on my team. He was all over that court.
What? The two of you would run circles around me. Well, do you think any of them would be willing to coach me?
I think you should maybe stick with your G.I. Joes. Staying active is key to living long, healthy lives, because unfortunately, none of us are invincible. Not even you.
Well, that's for sure. In fact, many of the seniors that we met here have been quite open about the process of planning the end of their lives, including what comes at the very end.
As they age, many people begin to pre-plan for their funerals. For some, their final wishes are for the funerals to be environmentally friendly. Whether it's urns or biodegradable caskets, some people are trying to convince Ottawa cemeteries to take a greener route.
All the simple things we can do to reduce our footprint, I think, are important. And so it doesn't make sense to me to say, I'm going to live my life this way, but when I die, let's have all the bells and whistles. It doesn't fit in with the kind of life that I'm trying to lead. My name is Judith Woke, and I'm interested in some kind of green burial or natural ecologic burial, and that isn't available in Ottawa. I had been looking for the Funeral Information Society actually for quite a while, and I finally found them at a information fair. And my interest in the organization is that I was looking for the kind of funeral arrangements I want for myself, and I wanted to find out where they were available in Ottawa. And I discovered after I met with them that they aren't available. And so I became part of the society so that I would be able to work toward getting the kind of funeral that I would like to have for myself. I like gardening, I like gardens, and I would like to be able to end up as fertilizer in a garden.
I'm Mary Nash, the past president of the Funeral Information Society of Ottawa. I was president for about 8 years, I guess, and now I am the Green Burial Coordinator. I'm trying to get green burial into Ottawa. Basically trying to persuade a cemetery somewhere in Ottawa to accept bodies that are not prepared and that are in perhaps a plain box, or not in a box at all, but a shroud, and are just put into the earth. And so no fuss, no muss, no bother, just back to the earth.
My belief is that we should be allowed to return naturally to the earth that we came from.
In Ontario particularly, the biggest myth is people think that you have to be embalmed, which basically, and the embalming preserves the body for a little while longer, but essentially you're going to be decaying anyway. It's going to take a little longer. It's like saying now when you're going out to buy a casket, they'll say, well, this casket is hermetically sealed and waterproof and all this kind of thing. And they'll say, you know, the body won't decay as fast, but eventually the body decays anyway. The casket goes ranky, and rusty, and if you seal it too much, there's a potential for explosion. Yeah, basically the embalming process, it takes place in a space that is basically akin to an operating room. And basically it's exchanging your body fluids, basically the blood and other fluids are then replaced with a preserving fluid. Formaldehyde. I think the basis of it is formaldehyde. And that's why they say graveyards in North America are pumped full of formaldehyde, which isn't good for the environment. So, and it doesn't stop decay. A lot of people say, well, it stops decay, but it doesn't.
One of the things about cremation is a lot of people say that it's environmental because it doesn't use a lot of space. You can put the remains in a very small place. And that's really important in places like Europe where they don't have a lot of space. In Canada, we've got a lot of space, so that's not as important an issue for Canadians. It uses a lot of energy. in order to burn the body. And the other one is that they don't usually remove any implants that have been that are in the body, and particularly like dental amalgam that has mercury in it, and so that the ashes will have the residue of whatever implants and artificial joints and that sort of thing. The actual human remains are not don't pollute, but the stuff that they put into our bodies during our lifetimes it is problematic. You have a natural burial without an elaborate casket and an elaborate grave liner. It makes it much harder for the large lawnmowers that they use in cemeteries, and so the grounds, it's harder to mow the lawn and keep it looking really pristine. As far as I'm concerned, a jungle is fine. The natural cemetery in Coburg looks like a field, and I think it looks really good. The environment is increasingly important to me. I think that environmental crisis is something that we need to, everybody needs to pay attention to. Because I think that this planet is a living being, and I think we're trying to, we're in the process of trying to destroy it. And I think it's really important to do everything that we can.
What a nice courtyard they have here. I think you knew this question was coming.
What do I want to happen after I die? Well, Katie, to be honest, I haven't thought much about it, but I think I'd like to be cremated, just like my grandfather. And you?
That last piece, I think, really convinced me to take the greener route. But you know, Keith, death's not all about us. It's largely about our families, too. And pets are absolutely part of the family. When making after-death arrangements, we need to consider what will happen with our animals.
Parrot Partner is home to many birds who were dropped off after their owners could no longer take care of them. Parrots can live up to 80 years old, and the longevity of their life can create some challenges. Some even outlive their owners. This next story looks at the bond between parrots and their people.
I think that helps to keep you younger because you've got to attend to them. It keeps you moving, it keeps you on the go, it gives you something of interest.
We know he's going to outlive us. Well, I mean, he could have another 40 years. I haven't got another 40 years, that's a definite.
Can't imagine being without him.
Not really, no.
Parrot Partner's goal is to be an adoption and education facility. Parrots are the third most popular pet in North America. Many people are surprised to hear that. It's cats, dogs, and then parrots. They're high maintenance. They're high maintenance to begin with, but as they get older, they're even higher maintenance. So you see a parallel there between humans and parrots. The other parallel is that as a parrot, the macaws can live from 50 to 80 years. As they go through their life stages, just as we go through our life stages, they're different animals. They're just as we're different people. We're not the same person we would be in our teenagers as we are in midlife. The same holds true for parrots. And even as it gets older, they're harder to handle. They're crankier. They have arthritis in their feet. They have arthritis in their bones, just like us. You can still see the original animal there, but it's a different animal. So I think it takes much more of a commitment.
Oh, yeah. I gotcha. Yes, I have. I gotcha. Yes, I have. And I'm not letting you go.
Mickey is our cockatoo. We acquired him in March 2004. We've had him for 11 years. Will be 12 come March. Yeah, he's so funny at times. You know, he just makes you laugh. We can understand him. Like, I'll ask him if he wants his blankie down, and he'll go, yeah. Right, and other things like that, you know. That's his way of saying yes. It just gives you pleasure watching him.
It's a companionship, really. It's, you know,
It's nice if you're on your own, like if Derek's out or something and I'm here by myself. It's amazing how much having them doesn't make like you feel you're on your own.
When a flock member leaves, even on a vacation, they get upset. When they do know they're going to pass away, they're frantic to find a place for their bird. And they know that it's a difficult placement. It's not like a dog or cat. When the owner passes away, the parrot grieves, just like humans would grieve. Oh, I don't want to cry. And when they have speech, they call them. And they cry. They cry when they realize they're not coming back.
You have to make sure that, you know, you've left, you know, in your will or somewhere what you want to happen if, you know.
Well, our son is aware that if anything happens to us, to take him to Judith. And because she knows him, he trusts her, and he's comfortable there. All the time our health is fine, and, you know, we don't have issues in that way. There'll be no problem. The problem may come down the road. It's difficult to foresee. I'm not sure how I would feel on my own if Derek went first.
I mean, I'm 80 in March, so and June's a couple of years behind me, so we're getting on. But we still get around and we still do all the things that we have done in the past. Oh dear.
Probably so easy to sort of say, oh, I can't be bothered. But you do, because you've got somebody else to worry about. You know, you just can't sit back and let them get on with it. But so in that way, they're good for us.
Good boy? Are you good boy?
It's nice just to see a couple that can, their marriage can survive that long. And they truly are in love with each other. They're an example of the best in us. And they have that same feeling for Mickey. Our commitment is to support them in keeping him for as long, because that's what's best for Mickey, that's what's best for them. So with an animal this complicated, the support is even more, more essential.
Yeah, you are.
Do we really have that type of moral character and fiber to be able to stay with them through all of the stages of their life? It's an important question.
What intelligent creatures. Of course they become part of the family. Just like Lexi here. She lives at Unitarian House and helps bring comfort to the seniors.
And who could stay away from a face like that? Oh.
Stay tuned. Up next, our co-host Amna Pervez hits the streets to find out what you want to do at retirement.
When I retire, I would love to sail around the world.
And that's a hobby right now?
It is a hobby. It's actually how I met my husband. Not sailing around the world, sailing on the Ottawa River.
I'd like to travel and spend time with my family.
I'd probably want to read more. I'd like to travel. That's pretty much it. Lots of it. South America, mostly. Peru, Mexico. Well, Mexico's not South America. Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia. You know, places like that. Places with pyramids.
I'm hoping to go probably somewhere in Europe, maybe do some backpacking for a bit with my brother, so I'm hoping that I get to do that when I retire and I'm done.
I want to travel and write and forget about work.
Possibly travel and volunteer. I'm from Peru originally, and I'd like to go back there, spend a few months, volunteer, either in Lima or outside of Lima. But that's basically what I want to do. Spend time doing work-like things, but for causes that are of my passions.
I would like to travel when I retire, and maybe help others. Maybe do a couple mission trips in Africa. Explore, learn more about different cultures. It's just when I retire, I think I'd have the money.
You know what? Retirement is life, right? So I don't know. What would I do with a retire? Retirement has a stigma to it, like you're doing nothing. But at the same time, it's a good time to live your life. Be a child again, right?
For many people, retirement is a time to look forward to. But for some seniors, life after their career ends doesn't always go as planned.
Take Michael Bell. He had a triple bypass in 2006, and his heart surgery started to affect the way his brain works. Bell often feels anxious, and his memory fades in and out. He had a caretaker move in with him, but it wasn't just any caretaker. It was his ex-wife, Jan, who actually stepped up. Although they're no longer married, they show us that love truly does run deeper than any conventional relationship.
My freedom, my alone time. So I had that for 11 years. And I have to admit that at the beginning I felt pressured and claustrophobic and sometimes suffocated by the demands. But I realize as time goes on, it's not demands, it's just what a caregiver does, caring for somebody she cares about.
How did you meet?
Well, I had been admiring Mike for a long time, although he didn't know it. He asked my friend Jim and I if we wanted to go for a beer. There was a little bar down at the end of the street. I thought that was amazing. I said, I better say yes. I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. He called me a couple of days later and we started dating, and we were married 15 months later. She was an angel from the time she was born. She was just, she never wanted to hurt. All she wanted to do was care for people. Very much so. She told me when she was 15 years old, she felt in her heart that she wasn't going to have a long life. She seemed to have an insight into things. It scared me so much, and as it turned out, she didn't, because she passed away at the age of 29. I immediately got into writing passages to Tracy in my journal. And to this day I do that, so I've got 15 years worth of that. But it helped me cope because for those 15 or 20 minutes, it helped me feel connected to her. It was just Tracy and I. So Mike and I did well for the first year, but then after that things started to deteriorate. And I knew that just for Mike and I to save ourselves, I had to leave. I vowed that once I walked out, I wasn't coming back. I was going to make a new life for myself. Somehow I had to get back peace and serenity, which is what I had before. And I lost it. And I craved to get it back, and I wanted to do it my own way. I didn't want to reach out to people because I knew that people wouldn't understand.
I was living 2 months alone, and I was depressed more than I thought I was. I lost about 40 pounds.
I moved here June the 26th, so you're probably talking about, in reality, to make the decision, it was probably made within days. When I saw how desperate Mike was and how sad he was, and I was watching him, and I realized that he was unable to stay alone.
Welcome back. That's probably the only and best way of analyzing it. Without Jan, I wouldn't be discussing this with you today. And as far as my emotional side, well, Jan has always been my love, and she knows that. And in some ways, I hope she feels in the same way for me. Jan, without having you, I would be a miserable old fart. But the way I am now, having you around, you created that aggressive part in me which is necessary to continue on wanting to live. To be a companion, a friend, a lover for 50 years, it's amazing. But Jan, I love you, and I will continue on loving you until the day I die. Which I hope is not tomorrow. I doubt it, even though my back's sore.
When I made my decision, there was no turning back. There was no looking back. It felt right. I'm here, one day at a time. And I will say that forever.
Wow. What an incredible story. It's strange the way love can play out in our lives sometimes.
I agree. I think it's true whether it's a love between a husband and wife or even a mother and child.
Yeah. Just like Kay Dennison and her son. Kay is a famous pianist that lives in Ottawa. In 1967, she actually had the honor of playing for Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. Now, at 90 years old, her musical career is still going strong. And her son Ken, a senior himself, is just beginning to learn the joys of music.
My name is Kay Dennison. I'm a musician. I'm 90 years old. I get a lot of enjoyment out of what I do. I like what I do, and I'm grateful that I can do it. Well, I played for Tony Bennett way back in the 50s when he was starting up at one of the clubs. I've heard him since, and he's really come a long way. Then I started playing in nightclubs, and I played at the Standish Hall when they rebuilt it after the fire. Started off playing for hockey games at the old auditorium. I played for the Queen one time at the Chateau Laurier for dinner, which was quite nice. But the Governors Generals, I think there was eight or nine. And I used to play for wrestling matches, which I didn't enjoy, but I did it. It was just in between music, in between the bouts and so on. I've been with Grey Jazz for about 20 years, and I've played with various other bands in between. Yeah, my husband died. It was either me sell the house, and I didn't want to do that. I have a different relationship with my 3 sons. They're all different. Kenny was always, I think, a little closer to me because he was a little more outgoing. And he was single, living on his own, so we decided we'd try it, and he'd come and stay with me.
Well, this is the house my father built at the end of the Second World War. And it's the only house that my mother knows after when she got married. So that was about 70 years ago, so I've been here about 65. But then I moved out when I was about 18 and came back when I was 55. And she's still just as good a cook as she ever was.
Actually put the lid on it when you turn it on.
For me, I'm living the dream. I think this is great. I mean, it'd be pretty tough to get a better situation than this. She's just about the only woman that'll put up with me, I guess, you know, so. But she's pretty incredible. Well, New Horizons was a wonderful opportunity, you know, it was almost like something that my friend Barry and I were just looking for, you know, old people get trained in a musical instrument that they've always wanted to play. I mean, what a good deal that is, you know? So, and the gentleness and the patience they use to train us, and they make it seem so simple by breaking it down into very small steps for us that, and at the end of the day, you feel like you've actually played a song, you know, so it's great. Sometimes I feel bad. I actually get her to play the song and I tape it so that I can just play the tape over and over again instead of making her play it live over and over again. But it's great, you know, like she can make me sound so good. And she'll tell me when I'm not playing so good.
Well, I'm glad I didn't push it when he started, but because I pushed it enough when he was a kid, and he was interested in football and hockey and everything else.
We seem to be getting better, you know.
They're doing okay. They even got a gig coming up.
Playing for the president.
Yeah.
Of the Duck Club. My mother's case is sort of a special case because music has been such a key part of her life. You know, what would she do if she wasn't doing music? You know, lose interest in what she's been doing all her life. I mean, I think it's such a driving force for my mother that it's particularly special for her.
I don't know what the legacy would be, except they'd know me. People would know me as a musician, but it was worth it all to me because I loved doing it, and I'm happy that I had that in my life because I was doing something I liked or loved. I think lots of people could do what I do if they didn't have the chance to try, that's all. I'll go as long as I can, as long as people will listen.
Before you go, who played for the Montreal Canadiens, the Montreal Junior Canadiens, and the Russian national team? One player, my mom.
Before coming to Unitarian House, I didn't realize how vibrant senior communities could be. There's so many interesting stories to be told. I kind of wish I could just jump to my retirement.
There's so many beautiful things about aging, and I'm really excited that we got to share some of those stories today. Ottawa, we've reached the end of our show. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of Carleton University's Journalism and Communication Department.
For the 25th hour, I'm Bianca Pettinero.
And I'm Duncan Chalmers. Thanks for joining us.
Taking all the sunshine, bottle up the rain. Go where the wind blows, let it show the way. Open all the windows, let in all the light. You can pull the stars down, paint the perfect sky. So go and write your song. The world will sing along. Jump in, and we don't know where we'll end up. You might as well begin. Memories you're making, you frame inside your heart. The middle of a nowhere, so somewhere you can start.